Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between and beyond. My name's Jordy Coleman. You can call me Ginger Wolf. And welcome to another episode of Let's Laugh. First and foremost, a little bit of housekeeping. Yes, we did skip last week's. Um, I didn't want to get into political stuff, and for sure that's where things would have ended up going at some point or another. So, wanted to eliminate that from the equation. I have my own opinions and stuff like that. I don't talk about the politics in general, but I do talk about the people that politics do affect. That is a different thing. So, with that all being said, there will be some stuff coming out soon that I'm very excited about, but I don't want to talk too much about just yet. Second and third thing we are going to do. Give me one moment. Just in case YouTube decides that it's not going to like our live stream, I'm going to share with you guys my Twitch. And there it is shared. Welcome. Alright, so now that we've got all the housekeeping done, today we're talking about David Cross. David Cross is kind of a little bit of a unique one because I'm actually a little bit more familiar with his stand-up I know about him and his acting and stuff like that. I don't even know his character's name, but I know he was the quote-unquote bad guy in Alvin and the Chipmunks, which, in all honesty, I think from what I've seen of that, he played that character at least just as well as Jason Lee played Dave from Alvin and the Chipmunks. Especially considering that character never really existed in the Alvin and the Chipmunks TV show. So, it's a very, very interesting kind of thing. Obviously, you can see a bunch of his credits on screen right now. Um, so definitely more into his because I knew his Wikipedia page was quite long. I picked a little bit of a shorter special. And remember, if we get sidelined here, I do have a Twitch in the chat there, just in the off chance that things happen, because I like having a YouTube channel. I do. So if YouTube starts getting mad at me, I'm gonna have to start doing my live streams on Twitch. Unfortunately. But it is what it is. Um, but yeah, I am fairly familiar with David Cross. In a weird sense, uh, just kind of how his general personality has become. He's kind of like this generation's Rodney Dangerfield, although David Cross, to be fair, did get famous earlier in his career than Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney Dangerfield wasn't until he was in his 40s till he started getting some traction and stuff like that. Which is part of the reason why he did the whole no respect kind of thing, because he really didn't get a whole lot of respect until he was a lot older. David Cross, I feel, on the other hand, does get he gets his dues. He definitely gets his dues. I do think he is a little underutilized because he knows what he looks like. He perpetually looks like the creepy uncle, the uncle that when you go there, Usually, when you go to family reunions, there's usually a lot of times there's two uncles that parents will say not to talk to. One because you're just not quite sure exactly what he's about. If you're catching my drift, I don't want to say it. I'm on YouTube. And then the other uncle, is the one that's going to be the bad influence, but he's the cool uncle. He's the one that we don't know so much about. David Cross is the uncle. He looks like it. I'm not saying that he is. I'm really not, because I don't think he is at all. But he has that look, especially with the big beard and everything. Big beard, bald head. You know, I think you guys get what I'm saying. But let's get into his Wikipedia article. Remember, as we've learned before, Wikipedia is a good place to start getting information on people, but it should not be the end. But it is the only thing that we are using because Wikipedia usually does have at least halfway decent information on it. Usually. So let's get started. Oh, cursing. David Cross, born April 4th, 1964, is an American stand-up comedian, actor, writer, and director. Cross is best known for his stand-up performances, the HBO sketch comedy show Mr. Show with Bob and Dave, which is actually, obviously, Dave is David Cross. The Bob is Bob Odenkirk. Bob Odenkirk is best known for playing Saul Goodman from the Breaking Bad series, and of course Better Call Saul. And he was also the lead actor in Mr. Nobody. So just as a little who's Bob, there you go. And his role, Tobias Fünke, I'm assuming is the name, in the Fox/Netflix sitcom Arrested Development. It is Arrested Development's a bit weird because, to be completely honest, I've never watched a whole lot of it. I hear it's really, really good, but I haven't watched a whole lot of it, to be completely honest. The main reason why I haven't watched a whole lot of it is because one of the lead actors of it, who was also from Curb Your Enthusiasm, was also a producer in Seinfeld. And it is ridiculous, I'll fully admit, it is ridiculous to kind of be like, I'm not going to watch that show because this person's in it and that kind of thing. That's not really what it is. I just never really had the opportunity. But when it became one of those, maybe I should check it out, he was in it, and I was kind of like, I didn't really like Seinfeld that much. And I know a lot of people hear that and want to revoke my stand up comic card immediately. And I get it. I do. Because it's Seinfeld. Seinfeld is probably, a huge key component to why a lot of stand up comics started doing stand up comedy. It is literally a show about a stand up comic. It's just not something that really worked for me. I've never really been a huge fan of Seinfeld and his particular style of comedy. Not saying it's bad, just not for me. He has been described as one of the defining figures for cult Gen X comedy, which I would absolutely agree with. Cross created, wrote, executive produced, and starred in the increasingly poor decisions of Todd Margaret. From 2010 to 2016, developed and had a prominent role in Freak Show in 2006, appearing on Modern Family from 2011 to 2012, and portrayed Ian Hawke in Alvin and the Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks the Squeakquel, and Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked. Cross has also done voice work for the sitcom Oliver Bean, and has been the lead voice role in Curious George, Battle for Terra, the Kung Fu Panda film franchise, Megamind, and Next Gen. I did not know he was part of Megamind until this opened up, to be completely honest. It makes sense, because Megamind and David Cross do sound kind of similar, but I never would have made that connection without seeing it here. Stop that, please. Oh, you can't. See, this is the thing. This is a downside to using Wikipedia. Is Wikipedia does like to ask for donations, and if I had donations, sure. But right now, I'm doing things for my own charity. So it's Cross Cancer Institution, which I am also donating my hair to Angel Hair to make wigs out of. So, Wikipedia, please stop. At some point in my life, I will give you money. Today is not that day. Go away. I like how they've set it at like $2.75 too. Like, come on, if you're gonna ask for a donate, like, yes, I get that 275 is not a whole lot of money. Absolutely, but at least pick a number that people like. Pick $6.66, or $4.20, or $6.90, or like pick a number that's gonna stick in people's heads. You know, just do that. Come on, come on. Anyway, in 1993, he won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Writing and Variety Series for his work on The Ben Stiller Show, for Mr. Show with Bob and Dave. He gained three Primetime Emmy Award nominations for Arrested Development. Cross was nominated for the Satellite Award for Best Supporting Actor in a Television Series, and along with his cast for three Screen Actors Guild Awards for Outstanding Performance by an Insubmersible in a Comedy Series. For his stand up specials, he was nominated for several Grammy Awards. And we are watching what I think is his first big comedy special today. It's from 1996, so I think it is. I think. I like to go as far back as I possibly can because I'm far more interested in the roots of how a stand-up comic started rather than where they are curious currently, because it's easy to find out where they are currently. It's usually a quick Google search or a YouTube search. I like to find out where they came from. Cross was born in Roswell, Georgia, to a Jewish family. His parents are Barry Cross, who immigrated from Leeds, England, and Susie Cross. 6 months after he was born, the Cross family moved to Florida. After additional moves to New York and Connecticut, the family resettled in Roswell. When Cross remained for nearly a decade. He is the oldest of three children and has two younger sisters, Julia and Wendy. I had Wendy's for dinner, or for lunch today. Breakfast, more breakfast. I had a nap for lunch. See how things, see how things have meaning if you just look for them. It's stupid meaning and it doesn't really connect to anything, but if you look hard enough, you will find it. The family had little money. Cross recalled that they were evicted from their home and that he spent some time living in motels and at friends' homes in his youth. Cross's father left the family when Cross was 10 years old. The two have not spoken since. Cross was 19, though they both primarily resided in New York City until Cross sold his home there in 2011. And I don't blame. In all honesty, when my father left my mother, I was only 6 months old. To be fair, but I saw my dad three times in my life, maybe four times in my life after that. So I don't blame him at all for not wanting to speak to his dad. To be completely honest, I don't think I would have either, even if I was 10 years old when my father left. Cross began performing stand up comedy around the age of 17. The day after he graduated from Northside High School in Atlanta, Cross relocated to New York City. La- Lacking a plan, he drifted, working briefly for lawn care company on Long Island. Later, he enrolled in Emerson College in Boston. Boston had a huge boom to the comedy world. If you, I really want to do. Eventually, in my life, I will do a history of stand-up comedy. And the earlier stuff is not. It's interesting, but I don't think a lot of people are going to be interested in the earlier stuff. But it's important anyway, so I'm still going to include it. But when you start hitting like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, even the 60s, to be completely fair, you start seeing like certain cities having just a boom in stand-up comedy, like unrealistic talent just coming forward in some cities, and Boston is one. They're getting some love now for it because of a couple of documentaries and stuff like that that have come out in relatively recent years. But Boston was a part of the scene that was constantly overlooked in favor of like Los Angeles and New York and New Jersey for that, for that matter as well. Chicago as well. Chicago had a big one, but Chicago was looked at because Chicago also had a lot of blues coming from it too, and they kind of linked up in a weird way. So that's for another video though. He would drop out after a semester, but during his time there, Cross joined This Is Pathetic, a college sketch group where he met John Ernest. Aspiring towards an acting career, the two took a road trip to Los Angeles in the summer of 1985, although this did not significantly further their acting careers. In Boston, Cross began to perform stand up comedy regularly from the mid 1980s to the early 1990s. Boston had a big, booming comedy scene, although Cross did not fit the types of acting being booked most of the time. He recalls that it was a loud, dumb, pretending, racist, homophobic type scene. So not much has changed. In 1990, a new comedy series began to emerge from the comedy club chain Catch a Rising Star, along with Janine we covered her before. How come I can't pronounce her name? Garofalo. There we go. Louis C.K., and other comics. Cross appeared regularly several nights a week. Cross formed a sketch comedy group, Cross Comedy, which is actually kind of a genius name, with 12 other performers. They put on new shows every week. They were known for playing tricks on the audience, such as introducing fake comics and planting fake hecklers. Cross became increasingly focused on his comedy work. I would so be down for that kind of thing, like planting fake hecklers in a crowd and stuff like that. I would totally do that. If I was doing like a sketch comedy thing, I would like a live performance sketch comedy thing. I would totally do that cuz that just sounds like fun. Cross later performed at an alternative comedy club, Uncabinet and Carbonet in Los Angeles, where radio artist Joe Frank heard him and hired him to appear in Frank's 1999 radio program, A Hearing, and The Last Run com- in 1997 combined to be the OJ Chronicles, where Cross appeared as OJ's valet. Wow, Cross also starred in Joe Frank's program Jam, produced in 1999, and worked with Frank on radio show KCRW, Unfictional, A Conversation, and Downfall. I'd love to do some radio work too, even though radio is like pretty far gone at this point. Radio work would be just sounds like fun. Just sounds like fun. That's all it is. Just if it sounds like fun, I want to do it. Cross's stand-up comedy blends political commentary and satire. Oh God, no politics, please. At least we know it won't be current politics. In 1999, he performed a one-hour comedy special, which is what we are looking at. The Parade is back on HBO. In 2003, he released his first tour film, Let America Laugh. And if he would have released it today, probably would have been Let America Laugh Again. It was named the 85th on Comedy Central's list of top 100 greatest stand-up comics of all time, which is where we drew his name from. He has released 5 comedy albums: 2002's Shut Up You Fucking Baby, 2004 It's Not Funny, 2010's Bigger and Blacker, 2016's Make America Great Again, America Great, and 2009's Oh Come On. He was nominated for the Grammy. This is not boding well. Try to stay away from politics right now, thank you. This is not boding well. But gotta go in order, and he was the next comedian that I could actually get the special for. So, uh, he was nominated for the Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album twice. In 2003, Shut Up You Fucking Baby, and 2016 for America Great. Which, I like that way of putting it better. Right there. I'm just going to leave that highlighted for a little bit. Cross's first 3 records were released on CD by indie rock label Sub Pop and on vinyl by comedy label Stand Up Records. For Shut Up and It's Not Funny, he self-released 2016's America Great on CD, with Stand Up Again releasing a vinyl version. Oh Come On was released by Comedy Dynamics. Cross tends to release his albums in overlapping audio and video format, which each content material not with on the other. This is the case on Bigger and Blacker, Oh Come On, and perhaps the most obvious, the 2016 companion set for Make America Great Again, a Netflix film, and America Great CD vinyl, which have different titles. Oh Come On video, Oh Come On's video and audio versions were recorded in 2 different shows on the same tour. That is actually a really cool idea. In all honesty, that I did not know he did that. That is a fantastic idea, because a lot of people would just get one or the other. I'm a DVD guy. If it's released on DVD, I'll prefer to get that. But if it's only an audio recording, obviously I'm going to get that, because that's what you got to do. But releasing the 2 things with just slightly different stuff kind of makes it, one of those. It's a collectible now. You want to get both. You know what I mean? Cross's stand-up material was featured on Comedy Central's 2004 animated series, Shorties Watching Shorties. That was how I actually knew about him as a stand-up comedian first. He appeared on several uncabaret compilation albums, including Freak Weather Feels Different and The Good, the Bad, and the Drugly. Chances are, if I was on that, I would be part of the bad. Not in a sense of that my stand-up is bad, I don't think that, but with my particular style, it would definitely fit more into the bad category. Maybe the drugly category. I do talk a lot about smoking pot. Television, film, and voice roles. Cross began his professional television career as a writer on The Ben Stiller Show. The series hired him towards the end of the run, and he occasionally made brief appearances in the sketches. He had a speaking role in The Legend of T.J. O. Pooter Toot, a sketch written almost entirely by Cross. It was during this period that he first met Bob Odenkirk. We were talking about the Mr. Show. Bob Odenkirk, with whom he would later co-create the HBO sketch comedy series Mr. Show with Bob and Dave, or just Mr. Show. In 1995, Cross won an Emmy for his work on The Ben Stiller Show. In 1993, in 1997, he played Newton, an employee of the NYC morgue in Men in Black. I think that may have been the first time I ever uh, saw him in anything. To be completely honest, although I do remember seeing him being like, I recognize him from something, so maybe not. But yes, I remember. I had now as the owner of the video rental store in Men in Black 2 in 2002. Um, that's he's the character. Just as a little bit of a refresher, because I do Men in Black at one point was one of my favorite movies. It still is. The original one is. In Men in Black 2, he's the one that shows them the video about the night Kay had a thing, um, and he kind of got wrapped up into the Men in Black and that kind of thing. For those of you who don't quite remember how he fit into that particular thing, um, but yeah, I remember that pretty well. I've seen both of those movies quite a few times. Cross later co-starred as Tobias Funke. Fucky. We'll just pronounce it Fucky because I'm assuming that's how it's. Again, I never really saw Arrested Development, so I apologize for mispronouncing. Originally only intended to be a minor role, he also played a smaller role on the program, such on smaller roles on programs such as Just Shoot Me, The Drew Carey Show, News Radio. That might be where I saw him first, was The Drew Carey Show, because I was a big fan of that. News Radio, Strangers with Candy, Tim and Eric, Awesome Show, Great Job, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which I think I'm aware I've definitely seen quite a bit of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, so I probably have definitely heard him play some characters in that. From 2005, Cross regularly appeared in Comedy Central's Colbert Report and as Stephen Colbert's nemesis, Russ Lieber, a fictional liberal radio talk show host from Madison, Wisconsin. Cross developed an animated series for Comedy Central called Freak Show, which co-starred H. John Benjamin and was canceled due to low ratings. He appeared several times on Wonder Shows. Cross teamed up with Mr. Show director and producer Troy Miller and Odenkirk to produce a feature film, Run Ronnie Run, based on one of their Mr. Show characters. The film satirized reality television craze and featured cameos from many stars. However, Odenkirk got into conflict with the studio New Line Cinema, and they released it direct to video. In 1994 and again in 1999, Cross was a guest voice actor on Joe Frank's radio show, featured in the episode The Last Run, A Hearing, The O.J. Simpson Chronicles, and Jam in 2013. In 2013, he returned, making an appearance in an episode of Frank's radio show entitled A Conversation. In 2004, Cross provided voices for a Marine in Halo 2, interesting, and a store clerk named Zero in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, also interesting. Those are things I did not know. He was also the voice of the Happy Time Harry doll and Burt Banner, in Aqua Teen Hunger Force, although that part was credited as Sir Willops Brightsley-Moore. Cross has made guest appearances in Tim and Eric's Great Show, Great Job. He directed the music video for the Black Keys song 10 a.m. Automatic. Sometimes I gotta stop and let my tongue actually reset. A spoof on of public access television. Paste magazine ranked in number 24 on their list of 50 best music videos of the decade from 2000 to 2009. That's pretty cool. I know the Black Keys. I've definitely heard some of their songs. I'm not going to say that I'm a fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I had no idea that he had any sort of affiliation with them. So him creating a music video, that's awesome. Cross appeared in the Strokes music video for Jukebox. Juicebox? The Juicebox, yeah. I wanted to say Jukebox, but nope, it's Juicebox. As a local morning zoo radio DJ, he also appeared in the new Pornographers video for Use It, in Super Chuck's video for Waitery Hands, along with Ginny Garofalo, and in Yola Yola Tango's video Supercharge, along with Bob Odenkirk and John Aarons. I love when people get to reunite in things like that, because he was doing stuff with Bob Odenkirk before, and then he was back with Bob Odenkirk and that. I love when that kind of shit happens. Cross continues contributes to Vice magazine, writing a column My America in 2005. He contributed to the UNICEF benefits song Do They Know It's Halloween, and appeared in one of PETA's I'd Rather Go Naked Than Wear Fur campaigns. I want to say one thing. I have my own opinion. Okay. I do not believe in being cruel to animals. We should not be cruel to animals. But PETA seems to have this idea that animals are better than humans. That is actually a thing that they have, that certain members, I'm not going to say PETA themselves because I'm not sure if it's PETA themselves, but certain people who have represented PETA and have affiliated themselves with PETA have basically said. I do not agree with that. The other thing is that a lot of the animals that PETA has rescued have ended up getting put down anyway. So if they're looking at actually rescuing animals, doing that kind of thing is not really great for the animals. Let's be fair. And since we paused for a moment, I do want to say to everybody watching, hello there. I hope you're enjoying this. In the Beastie Boys 2016 concert film, Awesome, I Fucking Shot That, which I do actually recommend. It's very different from pretty much what any other band has ever put out for a live show, because they actually got fans to shoot the music, like to shoot everything for them. Like they gave everybody handy cams, and they're like, okay, we got to remember to bring that back, but here's your handicap and blah 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 blah. Super cool thing, super cool idea. um and obviously it turned out well enough where they were like, well, let's fucking release it, you know. I do own a copy of it on DVD, and it's really interesting, although it is weird because there is one part where it just kind of stops. Like you can still hear the music, but it's like far off in the background kind of thing. And because one of the people actually takes the camera and goes to the bathroom, you don't see anything except for like the piss hitting the porcelain. But it's just hilarious how everything just kind of stops, and then we're gonna. It's just fucking stupid and funny. In the Beastie Boys 2006 concert film, Awesome, I Fucking Shot That, Cross portrayed Nathaniel Hornblower in the fictional segment A Day in the Life of Nathaniel Hornblower, I'm Not There. In I'm Not There, Cross played Alan Grinsberg, both Bill Lawrence and Zach Braff of the TV series Scrub. We're in gear to have Cross make a cameo appearance in the series as Tobias Fünke, but due to the series cancellation, the plan never came to fruition. As a little bit of a side note, and I gotta say this because I am a huge Beastie Boys fan. They are definitely my favorite band of all time. My favorite rappers of all time, absolutely. Um, but the whole Nathaniel Hornblower thing, um, Nathaniel Hornblower was a fictional character, MCA, R.I.P., created as just kind of a joke, and it, for them at least, it kind of took on a life of its own, where he even appears at one, like when they were getting an award, and basically getting really mad that he didn't get the award. And it, I love the Beastie Boys because they don't take themselves too seriously. So I just had to give that little bit of a shout out there, and also big fan. Cross provided commentary for various music video DVD, for Veros, Ver, Viscosity. No, that music video, DVD for Tool. He previously performed comedy as an opening act for the band, and its members appeared on Mr. Show several times. He portrayed Ian Hoek in Alvin and the Chipmunks film series and voiced Crane in Kung Fu Panda. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Cross stated in David's Situation, a plot for HBO. It filmed in May 2008 and included many Mr. Show alumni. At the taping on August 6, 2008, Bob Odenkirk announced on bobanddave.com that Dave's Situation would not be produced. That's unfortunate. I hate when companies do that, where it's like they'll make something and then they won't even put it out for anything. Like you can't, you, like, even the pilot, nothing. They won't put it out. They won't put it out because they, if they don't put it out and they don't make any money on it whatsoever, it becomes a write off. And so because it becomes a write off, they're like, well, if we don't make any money, then it's just a straight write off. We don't have to factor anything in of, like, you know, well, we ended up making a couple $1,000s off of it, so we have to factor that into the write off. They just completely can it, and it drives me absolutely fucking insane that they do that. Because there's a lot of cool shit out there that's been produced, that's been created, and it's just, nope, sorry, you want to see it? Too bad. Cross's black comedy series, The Incredibly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret, in which he stars and co writes with Shun Shan Pei. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies if I'm not. Has run on Channel 4 in the United Kingdom and IFC in the United States since October 2010 for a total of 18 episodes. On March 28, 2010, his first comedy special in 6 years, Bigger and Blacker, was streamed on Epix HD, a CD with slightly different content, was released on May 25th, 2010. In 2009, Cross released his first book, I Drink for a Reason. The book featured memoirs, satirical fictional memories, material from Cross that originally appeared in other publications. In September 2009, Cross performed at his own comedy stage at the ATP New York 2009 Music Festival, for which he picked Eugene Merman, H. John Benjamin, John Glacier, Derek Brown, and the Navy Gravy to join him. In the same year, Cross and Benjamin created and for programming wrote for programming on Adult Swim. Paid programming was not picked up for a full series, and Benjamin to it as an refers to it as an abject failure. Cross starred alongside Julia Seitz, the American Ferrara, and America Ferrara in It's a Disaster, which premiered in 2012 at the 2012 Los Angeles Film Festival. acquired that group acquired U.S. distribution rights to the film, releasing it in select theaters beginning in April 13th, 2013. Cross's directorial debut from Film Hits premiered in 2014 Sundance Film Festival. Instead of selling the film's rights to distributors, Cross instead opted to sell the movie over BitTorrent through their bundles program, which BitTorrent launched to help legitimize the platform. According to The Verge, it was the very first feature film to be distributed in such a format. At the same time, Cross launched a Kickstarter campaign for the movie's general release, which would then distribute the movie using a pay what you want methodology, which is actually something that's starting to become more and more common, the whole pay what you want or pay what you think is fair kind of setup. Um, am I a Killing Joke fan, Jennifer? Um, Jennifer Hill, to be completely honest, yes, I am a Killing Joke fan, but not for the reasons you would necessarily consider. I'm assuming what you're asking is, do I take comedy seriously? And the answer is yes, I absolutely do take stand-up comedy very seriously. I am into the history of it and stuff like that, but I was a fan of stand-up comedy far before the Killing Joke was ever even a thought. Um, Jennifer Hill, I am, to be completely honest, I'm not sure what you're attempting to ask with that particular question, but I will do my best to answer it. I have been a fan of stand up comedy ever since I was very, very young, probably between the ages of 4 and 8 years old. And that was when this whole thing started. My grandfather started playing old vinyl records, and of course, we also watched it on television, primarily on the Comedy Network, BBC, and PBS. We didn't have HBO when I was growing up. You meant the band. I was not aware that there is actually a band called A Killing Joke. So I will definitely have to look into that. Thank you very much, Jennifer. But as for why I do this particular thing, this is, I like to share as many stand up comics and stuff like that with people. I like to know about as many stand up comics as I possibly can. Um, if you've ever met that weird guy who seems to know every single punk rock band or every single heavy metal band, it doesn't matter what part of the world they're from, they know at least a song about them, and they're the ones that'll, oh, you like this particular band? You might like this particular person. You should check out this band as well, that kind of thing. I'm that, but with stand up comedy. Oh, no, that's my name. Jordy Coleman is my name. Jordy, so Coleman, thank you, Jennifer. But no, Jordy Coleman, that that is hilarious. I was not aware of that. Although I'm willing to bet they probably don't spell Jordy quite the same way, but maybe they do. Um, but no, so of course Coleman, that was my father's last name as well. I know, big surprise on that one. But the name Jordy actually came from my grandfather. He was a fan. He started calling me Wee Jordy when I was just a little baby, and he he started calling me Wee Jordy because there's an old Scottish film called Wee Jordy, not quite spelt the same, but pronounced the same. And it was about this little shrimpy kid who turned into this massive guy who ended up competing in the Olympics in the hammer throw. and that was where Geordie came from. Typically, Geordie is an abbreviated form of George, and my grandfather's name was also George, so I kind of became George Jr. without having to be called George Jr. And as far as because normally it's spelt with a IE on the end instead of a Y, my mom did that because in her mind it made it a more masculine version. My mom's passed away, so I can't really ask her about that particular reasoning, but you know. Anyway, though, thank you, Jennifer. I hope that answered your question. Roundabout way of asking, but I appreciate the question anyway. Uh, Cross's directorial debut. Let's get back to this. Kind of sorry, got a little bit derailed there. Cross's directorial debut film hits premiered. Oh, we already read this. Pay What You Want methodology in April 2015. Episodes were ordered for a new sketch comedy show starring Cross and Odenkirk called With Bob and Dave. It premiered in November 2015 on Netflix. Cross and Odenkirk write, star in, and produce the show. In June, on the June, yeah, on January, that's right, I didn't make a mistake. On the January 10th, 2016 broadcast of the National Public Radio syndication quiz show Ask Me Another, Cross appeared as a celebrity guest and performed well enough that the audience's request the show producers took the usual steps of allowing him to advance to the final show championship round. He then won that round and became the episode's overall champion, winning a prize package that included a pair of denim cutoff shorts that he himself had autographed. That is awesome. That is hilarious. I love that. He created an 8-episode black comedy series Bliss, which was released by BritBox. I have access to BritBox. I should watch this. Streaming service in 2018. It starred Stephen Megan as Andrew, a fraudulent television writer who is struggling to maintain long-term relationships with two partners, Kim Heather Graham and Denise Joe Hartley, who are not aware of one another. The same year, Cross provided a legal character's white voice, a lead character's white voice, in the science fiction comedy Sorry to Bother You. Influences, which is the part that I really like. Cross has said his comedic influences were Bill Hicks, Andy Kaufman, Monty Python's Flying Circus, Lou Costello, Stephen Wright, Richard Pryor, and Lenny Bruce. All fantastic places to draw inspiration from. I'm finding more and more comedians are drawing from Monty Python stuff, whether it's Flying Circus, Holy Grail, that kind of stuff. Lenny Bruce, of course, probably. I'll put it this way, I'm not going to get a whole lot into Lenny Bruce right now, but when I eventually get to making a series about the history of stand-up comedy, Lenny Bruce is going to definitely get his own episode, not just because he deserves it, but also because he did a lot in the early days of what we know of stand-up comedy now to make stand-up comedy what it is. Richard Pryor, of course, love and respect Richard Pryor to no end. And that includes when he accidentally lit himself on fire when he was making drugs. Stephen Wright, who, if a lot of people get Stephen Wright and Mitch Hedberg mixed up, they are not the same person. They don't even sound alike, but they do have a very similar delivery style. Lou Costello, I recognize the name, but I don't know enough about him as a person to really talk a whole lot about him. Andy Kaufman, which is somebody who I have taken some inspiration from as well, because I do enjoy playing with the audience and screwing around with what they think is going to happen. If you've seen my act, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And of course, Bill Hicks, who's somebody I've taken a lot of inspiration from, although I'm very different from him. He's a little bit more, well, he has more of a black style of comedy where I'm more of a light and fluffy type of thing. But we both definitely talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll a lot, so some of it definitely did rub off. In 2005, Cross was sued by Nashville club manager Thomas Weber, who accused Cross of supposedly taping him without permission for "Shut Up, You Fucking Baby" and "Let America Laugh" in apparent violence of Weber's privacy rights. In 2006, the case against Cross was dismissed, and the case proceeded with Warner Music, Sub Pop Records, WEA Corporation, and the Alternative Distribution Alliance. In 2012's interview with Playboy magazine, Cross revealed that he had done a small amount of cocaine at the 2009 White House coronation dinner. Cross spoke on the matter. "It wasn't like I got high, it was just about being able to say that I did it, that I did cocaine in the same room as the president," which, I'm not gonna lie, fair. That's fair. Um, in 2017, Cross apologized to the actor, comedian Carlene Yee for racially insensitive comments that he had made towards Yee in the mid 2000s. In a lengthy response, Cross tweeted, "I'm not accusing Charlene of lying. I am truly sorry if I hurt her. It was never my intention to do that. I do not remember it like she remembers, and clearly we're quite a bit far apart on this. But I reached out to her privately and expressed that and more, including the possibility that perhaps we are both misremembering exactly what happened that night." He later theorized that he was doing an impression of a southern redneck. 5 days later, he tweeted, "Charlene, I am sorry that I hurt you, and this whole thing played out as it did." That seems, I don't know the whole story on that, but that seems like a respectful thing. I mean, the unfortunate thing is with comedians, a lot of times we don't know if we're crossing lines and stuff like that with people. We just kind of go with the flow and react and that kind of thing. And sometimes it does hurt people's feelings, and we do have to apologize for it. It doesn't mean we're less of a person from it hurting somebody's feeling. We're less of a person if we try to play it off as like, "Oh, you're a fucking baby," and "Can't you take a joke," kind of thing. Because it's not up to me as a comedian what somebody else is going to find offensive. What I find offensive, truth be told, I don't find a whole lot of things that offensive. I can go with a joke. I can run with things. But that means that at some point I may say something that's offensive. And that means that I should apologize for it because I did hurt somebody. Whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, it doesn't matter. You can say, "I didn't mean to offend you, but I apologize for offending you." That is absolutely fine. But you know, and just for a quick second, going into the whole doing cocaine in the White House. I've never done cocaine. I'm not a cocaine person, which blows a lot of people's minds because I am a stand-up comedian, I am a magician, and I'm also a line cook, which is three professions that tend to have a lot of cocaine buzzing around it. And yet somehow I've managed to never do that. And a lot of people question me on that, to which I say, no, it's true, because I was never offered it by somebody that I trusted, and I don't take drugs that I don't trust where their source is from. At least not the first time I'm doing it. So, just as a little bit thing. Just as a little bit of an aside. Criticisms and feuds. Larry the Cable Guy In April 2005, Cross criticized stand up comedian Larry the Cable Guy in a Rolling Stones interview, saying, "It's a lot of anti gay, racist humor which people like in America. All crouched in, I'm telling it like it is. He is in the right place at the right time for the G shucks. Proud to be rednecks. I'm just a straight shooter, multimillionaire in a cut off flannel, selling ringtone act." That where that's where we are as a nation now. We're in the state of vague American values and anti-intelligence pride. Wow, do I want to say a lot of stuff about that? But as I said at the beginning, I'm going to try to avoid a lot of political stuff, but that's a lot of things I want. There's a lot of things I want to say there. Excuse me. In response, Larry devoted a chapter of his book Get Her Done to Cross, and the PC left, complaining that Cross had supposedly screwed with my fans and it was time for me to say something. Larry claimed that Rolling Stones was baiting comedians to attack him, and they turned to Cross only after Lewis Black refused, as Larry and Black are good friends. Cross reportedly, with an open letter to Larry the Cable Guy, posted on his website, he continued to mock Larry in his stand up, satirizing blue collar TV during a guest appearance on Wonder Chosen in December 2005. He ended his performance on Comedy Central's Last Laugh 2005 by mockingly yelling Larry's catchphrase, "Get her done," to the audience as he left the stage. He poked fun at Larry's comedy in Freak Show with a character called Danny the Plumber Guy. Now, away from the politics, in as much like it is very popular for some comedians to make fun of other comedians, and that's okay. That is okay. Um, because certain comedians aren't going to appeal to everybody, and that's absolutely fine. That's with everybody. Um, I was never a huge fan of Larry the Cable Guy, although I do understand why he is popular and why a lot of people like him, and that's okay as well. That is absolutely fine. I don't think, especially considering, at least as far as I know, Larry the Cable Guy has never done anything all that bad towards people, at least as far as I know. We haven't gotten to him on the show yet, so maybe there's, some controversy out there where he did something that he shouldn't have done. But all I'm saying is that don't hate on another comedian because they have success with a completely different demographic than you do. Like, I have never been a big fan of Pauly Shore, who is actually, I will say this, he's coming to Canada. And if a ticket happens to fall into my lap for me to check him out, I will definitely go to a show. And I'm not saying I'm not going to laugh at a show because I very well could laugh at a show. I'm just saying that as a general rule, if something of his pops up on my YouTube feed or something like that, I just don't click on it. That's all I do. Same thing, I was never really a big fan of David Spade, but I enjoyed some of the stuff that he did in movies and stuff like that. His comedies, I'm not saying his comedy's bad. As a matter of fact, I'll fully admit that I've laughed quite a few times at his particular style of stand-up comedy. I'm just not a huge fan of it. That's all it is. James Lipton. Cross criticized Inside the Actor Studio host James Lipton on a Mr. Show sketch in his stand-up performance The Pride is Back, calling him pretentious. Lipton, who thought Cross's impression of him was a good-natured, later appeared alongside Cross in Arrested Development in a recurring role, prison warden Staraf Sturfan genitals. During filming, Cross was imprisoned with Lipton and comedic comedic ability. The two became good friends. Well, that's a nice outcome. One of the commentary tracks for season 4 of Mr. Show, Cross discussed the encounter and complimented Lipton on his professionalism and performance, saying that he liked Lipton personally, but still didn't care for inside the actor's studio. Which, again, perfectly fair. That is absolutely fair. Alvin and the Chipmunks. This is probably the part of this that most people are familiar with because, of course, it is the newest and it is also the most popular. Despite critical praise for his performance, David Cross received backlash from fans for his role out in Alvin and the Chipmunks. In December 2007, comedian Patton Oswalt joked in a MySpace blog 2007. That's as far as MySpace go. Holy shit. That does not feel like it was 2007. Like in my head, MySpace is like a 90s thing, but it's accurate. Oh man. Technology makes us feel old, guys. Joked in a MySpace blog post that he and fellow comedian Brian Posis were offered the role of Ian and rejected it, adding, "We both threw the script across the room in disgust." David Cross caught it, responding to critics of his decision to appear in the film. Cross said that he had rejected the role initially, but reconsidered. Cross reprised his role as Ian Hawke in Alvin and the Chipmunks The Squeakquel and Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked. Cross described Chipwrecked as literally, without question, the most unpleasant experience I have ever had in my professional life. Makes sense. He accused an unidentified female producer of autism and mistreating him. He was also forced at legal gunpoint to spend a week shooting footage on the Carnival cruise where Cross argued pointless since he had no lines and one was unrecognizable in the Pelican shoot. The commish comments cost Cross a $150,000 bonus for violating his non disparagement clause by discussing his grievances publicly. Holy shit. Whew, that was quite a bit. Personal life. August 2011. After 4 years of dating, Cross became engaged to Amber Timberlake. They married in 2012. On February 21st, 2017, Timberland announced that she and Cross have a daughter. Cross was raised Jewish, but has described himself as an atheist. He described his political philosophy as definitely more socialist Democrat than creationist politician. In an interview in 2016, Cross praised Senator Bernie Sanders and said he admitted Sanders way before he ran and he admired Sanders way before he ran for president in 2021. Cross featured in a video produced by Gravel Institute, a progressive think tank. On September 26, 2013, Kickstarter co-founder Yancey Strickler revealed that Cross was the first investor in the crowdfunding platform. Strickler included Cross among the friends and family who first financed Kickstarter in 2006. That's really nice. Cross is a fan of a friend with the musical group the Beastie Boys. He is sampled on the beginning of the group's single Check It Out from their album To the Five Boroughs. One of the group's members, Mike D, did not believe that this was Cross's voice in the sample, and Cross said he had to perform the voice in front of Diamond to prove it was actually him. Cross revealed that while hosting the Beastie Boys series XM channel, Cross also appeared in the group's music video for Make Some Noise, which was nominated for Video of the Year in 2011's MTV Music Awards. In Spike Jonze' directorial documentary Beastie Boys Story in 2020, Cross has a post-credits scene in which he interrupts the group's theater performance to poke fun at the commercial failure of their second album, Paul's Boutique. Cross has dual British and American citizenship. You know, it's funny. I did see that him in that, and the funny thing is that yes, Paul's Boutique was absolutely a stone cold failure at the time, but it has now become one of those like dusty relics of musical history where people are like, "Have you checked out this album?" You know, it's I love the fact that it's become like that. You know, because I'm a big fan of cult shit that gets a cult following. You know, the Evil Dead series, the View Askew universe. Stand-up comedy in general. Things that have a cult following are things that I absolutely love and adore. So we already talked about his comedy albums and compilations. Two drink minimum, HBO comedy half hour, which is actually what we're watching today. Rock Against Bush, Invite Them Up, Comedy Death Ray, Awesome Records, Great Songs, Volume 1. Nominations for Grammy Awards for Best Comedy Albums. So Shut Up You Fucking Baby and America Great. Biographies, I Drink for a Reason, Hollywood Said No. And 1995, Destiny Turns Radio. What is this? Films, The Cable Guy. Oh, that could have been very well the first thing that I ever saw him in. The Truth About Cats and Dogs, Waiting for Gruffman, uh, Who, Who's the Carbos, Men in Black, Small Soldiers, The Thin Pink Line. No picture for that one, unfortunately. Can't Stop Dancing, Chain of Fools, Ghost World, Dr. Dolittle 2. I wonder who he was. Dog number 2 in. So not even a named role. He was in Scary Movie 2. I don't remember him in that movie. Pootie Tang, Dr. Dolittle 2, One Day, which doesn't even have a Wikipedia entry. Life Without Dick, Men in Black 2, Martin and Olaf, Run Ronnie Run, Melvin Goes to Dinner, Let America Laugh, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I think I do remember him in. Awesome, I Fucking Shot That, She's the Man, Curious George, School for Scoundrels, Crashing, The Guard, I Am Now There, Battle for Tierra, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Tick, The Toe Tactic, Futurama, The Beast with a Billion Backs, he was Yivo, Kung Fu Panda, Secret of the Furious Five, Legend of the Secret Pass. Oh, these are both Kung Fu Pandas. This wasn't just a short film. Meltdown, Year One, Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel, Megamind, Fight for Your Rent Revisited, which is actually on YouTube for free. Highly recommend checking that out if you're a fan at all of music or the Beastie Boys. There's a shit ton of celebrity cameos in that. Like pretty much everybody is a celebrity cameo in that. I'm not even I'm not exaggerating at all. Everyone is a celebrity cameo in that. Megamind, the Button of Doom, Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked, Kung Fu Panda 2, Demoted, It's a Disaster, Kill Your Darlings, Hits, Obvious Child, Wolfpack Project, Pinch Perfect 2, Another Kung Fu Panda, Folk Hero and Funny Guy, The Post, Sorry to Bother You, Next Gen, Beastie Boys Story, The Dark Divide, 8-Bit Christmas. That sounds interesting. And You Hurt My Feelings in 2023. Television, Ben Stiller Show, A Bucket of Blood, which that was a movie, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. It's a comedy horror remake of the 1959 film of the same name, which was also produced by the same guy who made the original Little Shop of Horrors. Little random shit that I know. Mr. Show with Bob and Dave, Drew Carey Show, News Radio, Cat's Professional Therapist, Tenacious D. Oh, that's an interesting one. Comic Dressed as a Nun. That's the name of his role, just Comic Dressed as a Nun. Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which I do think I saw him in. Hercules, Just Shoot Me, Strangers with Kennedy, Night of the Living Doo, which I'm assuming is a Scooby-Doo thing. No picture pops up. There we go. Yep. Oh yeah, you can see him in the right there, in the shorts there. That's hilarious. Home movies, another comedian in home movies. Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Nevermind the Buzzcocks, Oliver Bean, King of the Hill, Ward Brackley voice. Interesting. Crank Yankers, which was I'm not a huge fan. I don't like the idea of like at this point it's kind of silly to do crank phone calls, but Crank Yankers I thought was a good show. I thought it was funny. Arrested Development, Plot Seasons, Tom Goes to the Mayor, Colbert Report, O'Grady, Wonder Chosen, Freak Show, Family Guy, Tim and Eric, Awesome Show, Great Job, Law and Order, Criminal Intent, Odd Job Jack, which is also a really good show I highly recommend, David's Situation, Human Grant, Important Things with Dimitri Martin, who is also a fantastic stand-up comedian, Paid Programming, Kung Fu Panda Holiday, Running Wide, The Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret, Archer, which is also another great show, Shoal Quest, Modern Family, Mary Shelley's Frankenhole. Interesting, I'm not familiar with that, but he was with Jim Belushi and John Belushi? Or he played Jim Belushi and John Belushi. He played Jim Belushi and John Belushi. Comedy Bang Bang, Heart and The Heart She-Holer, Rick and Morty, which is also another show, Community, Dead Boss, Drunk History, Asylum, Trip Tank, with Bob and Dave, Unbearable Kimmy Schmid, We Bear Brothers, Pig Goat, Banana Chicket, Goliath, Bliss, Ask the Story. Holy shit, he's been in so much. The Shivering Truth, Archer, Big Mouth, Genesis, which Big Mouth is actually not a bad show from the few episodes that I've watched. Genesis, What We Do in the Shadows, Stephen, Station 11, Bubble Guppies, Teenage Enthusiasm, Justified, City Primeval, Car Apocalypse, and he's in the Umbrella Academy in 4 episodes. I'll definitely have to check that out. That's for his that's for his gaming stuff. Technically speaking, that's almost all just Grand Theft Auto stuff. And a few appearances in some music videos and some stuff in podcasts. Whew. Quite a career. Quite a slightly impressive career. Actually, not even slightly impressive. The dude's been literally all over the fucking map. And you can tell he definitely likes to lean more towards comedy than anything else. Which is something that, see, this is the picture that I think a lot of people around my age would recognize more rather than this. But yeah, whew, that was a lot to go through. Holy smokes. I just want to take a little quick glance and see what his. Oh, that's bright. David Cross is an American actor, writer, and comedian who is known for Tobias Fünke in Arrested Development, Minion for Megamind, Crane from Kung Fu Panda, Ian Hawke from Alvin and the Chipmunks, Yivo from Futurama, and the Happy Time Harry and Happy Time Harry from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. He's also acted in Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, Men in Black, and Curious. I'm assuming that's gonna say Curious George. All right, now that we've gone. Oops, that was not the one I wanted to click. Theater mode. Now that we've gone through his stuff, let's check out his 2016 HBO comedy special. It's a half-hour comedy special. It was the HBO at one point would test a lot of comics with a half-hour comedy special before they'd give them just a full 1 hour comedy special. This is that. So now that we've gone through the entirety of his stuff, let's sit back, relax, and watch this. Just on the off chance, if you're watching this on YouTube, if YouTube does decide to cut this off and everything like that, in the chat is my Twitch TV link. It will continue to go over on Twitch. So just so if something happens and we fall off, as it stands right now, I have good standings with YouTube. I don't have any copyright strikes or anything like that, and you are allowed to accidentally, get a couple here or there, and they stay on your account for about a year. If I get one, I'm going to be doing strictly my live streaming on Twitch, just because Twitch is a little more forgiving with a lot of stuff, with their bots and stuff like that. So now that we've said all that, let's sit down, relax, and watch David Cross's 1996 comedy special, HBO.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fillmore Auditorium in beautiful San Francisco. Please welcome David Cross.
Okay, all right. How y'all doing? All right. Well, I'm going to do something a little bit different this evening, okay? I'm gonna entertain y'all, okay? And I'm gonna be clean about it. I ain't gonna come up here and use dirty mouth, okay? Like some people think it's okay. These comedians today get up here talking dirty trash mouth and blaspheming the Lord, taking the Lord's name in vain, talking about their genitalia. That's all funny. You know, my vagina this, my vagina that. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. What? Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you why these people do it, okay? Because it's just another example of this liberal, Jew-run media, okay? Yep. Trying to take over like they've been doing. That's all part of their plan. You know, they got them 7 Jew bankers living the vault in Switzerland, mile down in the earth, you know, manipulating the media. That's what they do. They got them 7 Jew bankers all making decisions, you know. They're in cahoots with the lesbian dentist cartel, okay? Yeah. And then secret society, lesbian dentists, playing a chip in your tooth when y'all ain't looking, you know? You know, this has all been prophesied in the Bible, okay? Oh, go ahead, laugh. Laugh at the funny man trying to tell the truth. No, you look up in Ecclesiastes 14:12, okay? It states clearly, it says, and the lesbian periodontists, and I'm paraphrasing here, how am I doing on time? Oh, wait. Fucking San fucking Frisco. Good evening. It's so great to be here in the Fillmore, especially with, man, the history of the Fillmore. I can't tell you, man, I am so thrilled. I can't believe I'm standing on the same stage that fucking Boz Scaggs was on, man. Wow. Feel it. Everybody, wait, feel it. Yeah. Little Lido shuffle. It's my generation's Abbey Road. You got to understand how it is. It's special for me. So let me ask you this. When did it become wrong to want to cuddle? You know, when did cuddling go out of style? I'm serious. The other night, I was made to feel like a real jerk. I mean, the other night, I was making love to a prostitute. Okay? And I get done, okay? And that's it. That's it, you know? She just gets up to leave, you know, walks right out the door, you know, walks right out the car door. You know, and I'm like, what? Man, I didn't get her name or nothing. It was so cold and impersonal, you know? I mean, I don't know, call me sentimental, you know, call me an old softy, but I believe that when you come in a woman's hair, you share a certain bond, you know? Yeah. I'm the only romantic. All right, fine. Oh, and I'd like to officially tell the folks at McDonald's, you know what? You guys don't have to advertise as much as you do. Okay, we get it. Yes, you're the folks who sell hamburgers. Thank you very much. We understand completely. There's no need for the incessant 24-hour commercials, radio ads, buses. It's just insane. They don't have to advertise as much. I mean, I don't know why they do that, you know? It's not like when I wake up in the morning and if I don't see an ad for McDonald's, I'm not confused. You know? I'm not sitting there going, hey, did McDonald's go out of business? Where's the commercials? You know, they don't have to do it. And then, I mean, all they have to do is like stop one day, like every 4 months. You know, that's it. Their sales aren't going to go down. They'll save millions of dollars, and then maybe they can put that money back into the system, you know? Maybe, you know, pay their minimum wage help an extra $1 an hour. How about that? You know? Yeah. Spread the wealth. That way, the next time I go into McDonald's, I don't have to deal with some understandably pissed off 19-year-old kid who's making after taxes $2.10 an hour to stand over a fucking 900-degree fryolator all day, you know, sitting there going, can somebody explain to me again why I shouldn't be selling drugs? Can you? I mean, how's that? Yeah. And the phrase minimum wage, man, can't we think of something else to call it? That is the most, what does that do for your self-esteem? What a horrible thing, minimum wage. Isn't there something else we can call it? You know? Well, it's better than nothing wage. Yeah, that's what I'm making now. I am making the, well, at least I don't live in Haiti wage. You can't say minimum wage to people when they're you know, asking you questions. But, hey man, so how's it going? What are you making now? Minimum wage. Yeah, lowest amount legally possible. That's where I am right now. Yeah. Oh, they'd like to pay me less. Yeah. No, they would, but they can't. Legally, they can. I win. I'm the winner. Yeah. Hooray. Oh, you know, not to pat myself on the back or anything, but this week it has been 1 full year since I've been completely sober. I haven't. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I have some friends who don't drink that much and think I have a drinking problem, you know, and they're like the same people. You know, it's just, look, I have a particularly high tolerance level. Let's not muddy the issue. All right. And they're always telling me I should go in AA. And they're like those people who go, hey, man, do you think you might have a drinking problem? No. Denial for a sign. Well, and how am I going to win that argument? Ever, you know? And they tell me to go to AA meeting. Go once, just once. See if it's for you. You know, and I'm like, I don't think so. You know, personally, I think that people in AA are simple. I think they're weak, you know, and quite frankly, you know, I don't need that crutch in my life. All right, let's, sweet hops. Yeah. And I like drugs. I'm pro-drugs. I enjoy the drugs. Neosporin? Anybody? Clear you right up. It's good. Oh, man. No, I do. I mean, you know, I like them. I recently attended a pro-drug rally in my basement, and it was good. I learned a lot. And I mean, okay, you should be able to get high, but obviously with some restrictions. You know, I'm not stupid. I think you know, responsibly you should be able to. Not everybody should be able to get high whenever they want all the time. That's retarded. I know that. You know, I'm saying with certain rules, you know, you should be able to. I mean, there are obvious times when you don't want people getting high. You know, I wouldn't want my surgeon getting high, you know, before he operated on me. That's an example of when it's bad. There you go. You know, if I'm laying there on the gurney before an operation, the last thing I want to hear before I go under is, nurse, give me one of those, the pointy thing. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Hey, how are you? Okay, now, refresh my memory. We were doing what here again? No shit. Ah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's fuck it up. Oh, I'm sorry. Anesthesia. I'm sorry. Fuck you, man. You knew I said. I had fucking. Wow, this is good weed. You know, yeah, that would be bad. But if I want to go home and get high and watch TV and then go to sleep. What the fuck is wrong with that? Why can't I do that? You know? What is the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to have some sort of accident dialing out for Pizza Hut? I mean, what? No. It's okay. I should be able to do that without having to go to jail and being anally raped for a year. You know, I think that's a bit harsh of a penalty, I think, for that. You know, because when you're being slammed by some huge 400-pound guy, that's when you're going to need to get high. You know? But I you know, I go to the gym now because of all the damage I do to my body. I try to get back at least a month at the end of my life. So I'm going to the gym, and I don't get it at all. I do not understand the gym culture. I live in LA, and it's so freaky weird there. I go to this gym, and these guys in the gym are the most vainglorious people you've ever seen. It's so uncomfortable. I mean, these guys come in, and granted, they're cut. You know, they look good. They have a right to admire themselves. But, you know, they come in, and they've got, like, a piece of cloth over their nipple and, like, a Band-Aid, and they call that a gym workout outfit, you know. And they're walking around, and, you know, this techno shit plays all the time. And these guys are, like, and they get off their machines. They jump off their machines, and they're like, you know, there's like big full-length mirrors and stuff. You know, they do these catwalk struts, you know, and they're like, yeah, that's what I look like now when I do this. When I walk this way, I look like this. You know, looking at themselves the whole time, and they're fucking hitting themselves and kissing themselves. But not just one of them, all of them are doing it, you know? They're like fucking monkeys, you know? I keep expecting them to start beating off and throwing their shit at themselves, you know? It's weird. Whole room full of these guys. Man, I don't get it. And they spend all that time. They look at themselves. They don't take their eyes off themselves. Big full-length mirrors. And every once in a while, you can see a couple of them occasionally just in their mind, the lights are lowering. You know, and the music gets a little softer, maybe some Streisand. And they're looking at themselves, and you can see they just want to reach in to the reflection and take their hand and magically pull out their image so that the two of them are there. The two thems are there, and they dance around. They love themselves. They love themselves, and they make out. And then they fuck each other in the Flexinator 400, you know? It's a beautiful, I'm coming in me. Weird. And I also don't like the guys who go in there to, like, work out some personal demons they have. You know, they're just in there to work shit out, you know. And I get on my machine, and that's it. I stand there, and that's enough for me. All right, good. Okay, I'm there. I don't bother anybody. And these guys come over like, hey, you mind if I work in with you? Yeah? All right. No, it's fine. Okay, thanks. No, take it, man. Take it. It's yours. You take that. I'm going to move to another state. You know what else is weird? I was watching this thing on TV, and it was this religious show, and I realized that, you know, we have no idea what Jesus Christ sounded like. You know, no idea at all, no clue. All we have are, like, Hollywood actors, you know, who always, every production ever, always attribute this kind of somber, monotone voice of reason to him. In whatever production, Jesus is always walking amongst the marketplace, sounding like this, my son. You know, like he's just about to snap, you know? Always, you know, it's like we have no idea what he sounded like. That was 2,000 years ago. There were no tape recorders back then. I mean, for all we know, he could have sounded just like a really effeminate Southern guy, you know? Don't know. Kind of an interesting concept, though, you know? Think of Jesus going, y'all, I just got back from Lazarus' tomb. And P.U., did he stink or what? I'm serious, y'all. I'm so serious. I moved that boulder away. It was like poo right in my face. And I do not need that. Oh. I'm so serious, y'all. I'm so nervous because tomorrow's my big Sermon on the Mount. It's so important. I don't know what to do or say or wear. Oh, hey, Luke. Hey, Mark. Y'all come on in. Oh, come on in. How was the bazaar? Don't tell me I'm going tomorrow. Oh, Lord. Oh, that's me. All right, I want to read from my Bible, very briefly. I brought it with me. These are inspirational words that I think you're going to like. And I just like to spread the message. All right. It's called In Search of Good Pussy, Living with... You know, okay. I'm just... Let's not judge, all right? I don't run into your church going, what are you doing, praying to God? All right? In Search of Good Pussy, Living Without Love, the real truth about men and their relationships, reflections of a reformed ladies' man, just telling it like it is, Don Spears. There's the man, all right, with what I assume is good pussy, and just read you a little bit about it, let you know what it is.
In Search of Good Pussy is everything you need to know about today's black man, and it is one of the most compelling and important books you will ever read. Check it out, y'all. In creating Good Pussy, I was searching for an idea, a word, a special word that would be universally understood by everyone, especially men, hoping that even those men who do not read other books will read this one. So finally, a book for the illiterate. Good pussy is a new age word that reflects and engenders a higher level of awareness. Before the word good pussy, there was no way to accurately describe this deliriously delicious high we all hunger for. Now, some of y'all may be a little bit unclear, so for those of you, I will cite a few more examples of good pussy. Yeah, it is your doctor saying to you, no, you do not have cancer, or that exhilarating feeling you get when the basketball goes through the hoop during the last 2 seconds of the game and your team wins. And even more universally, because haven't we all made the final winning shot at the university basketball team? All right. It is a letter that comes in the mail announcing you the winner in your state's lottery with your name on a check for $10 million. Now that is good pussy. Excellent, brilliant, and even wonderful. Good descriptions, but they are somehow still not quite enough to explain how you feel. That marvelous, ecstatic, supreme state of being is good pussy. If I were your friend and I loved you, the most and best that I could wish for you would be that you have a beautiful good pussy life and that you have a wonderful good pussy day.
Before I go, 2 things, quick like. I'd like to tell you guys a true story. This is a true story, really happened, and I like to call it the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. All right, well, welcome to my world. All right, this is all true. I was in Tampa Bay, Florida. And if anybody here is from Tampa Bay, then you know that it's one of the shittiest places on this earth. Horrible place, fucking nothing to it. Man, it's just fucking hot all year round. It's like 100 degrees, humid, 100% humidity, and there's nothing to do. And I'm working there, and I'm there with a friend. And since there's nothing to do, we go one day to Busch Gardens, this Busch Garden Safari roller coaster hut thing, which is right directly next to Busch Brewery, okay? So yeah, fucking hot, and a brewery and a zoo. Yeah, more. Oh, all right, it's nuts. It stinks, and that's all there is to do. There's nothing to do. All right, so we go to this thing, and it's like, one of those places where they got one lame little pirate ship ride, and you go, hey, wow, okay, great, And then they have this thing, in this little safari thing, they have this little, like, circusy thing where it's just one little area, but it's shaded. So my friend and I decided to go there and just get out of the heat, and it's like open air, but it's like got a thing over it. And everyone there, it's packed, but it's just like 5-year-olds and 108 and up. There's no in between. It's like 5 and 108 and up, nothing in between. It's where everybody dumped off, all the people who can't ride rides who are holding the back, You guys go in here and, watch the parrot. He'll be on a bicycle. All right, and then that's all it is. And so it's this little lame circusy zoo thing. And the guy who's running it is like this effeminate, overweight guy. He's like 55, and he's got a bad toupee, and he's got those little like Raleigh fingers mustache thing, the curly Q deal. And He's wearing this one-piece pink unitard thing with rhinestones on it. It's fucking humiliating, and a bad, top. And he's out there going, "Hey, everybody, welcome to the greatest show in the world. Man, it's wonderful. We're going to have some beautiful animals. Let's bring out the first animal. Let's bring out Pixie, the elephant, the wonderful elephant. Come on out, Pixie." And he's like whipping the thing, and he's hitting it. And and this elephant is completely humiliated. It's all dressed up, in girly shit, and it's just like got a cone on it. And that quality that animals have when they want to tell you that they are fucking pissed off. That any animal, they have that kind of stare down like, they're not budging. You can wait in your car till it runs out of gas. I don't give a fuck. You're not going anywhere. Little thing. And they're, this elephant's being whipped, and the guy's coming, "Hey, come on, Pixie, show the most beautiful elephant," and brings out, and the elephant's just like very slowly walking out, slowly. It's hot, and, wasn't it like a year ago it was playing with its mom and its family in the Serengeti, and now it's entertaining, elderly white people in Tampa Bay? It's not right, and it knows it, and it's being whipped, and it's really reluctant, and the guy's hitting it, it's really kind of uncomfortable, and the elephant comes out, they got that little wheelie bass thing, and the elephant goes, "All right, come on, show more." All right. There's that. There's that paw. Okay. And, it's just going on. It's really, really just awkward and bad. And the thing is, this elephant had the biggest, most gaping, moist, bulbous, pulsating pink vagina you've ever seen. It was remarkable. It was huge. It was unto itself. I mean, it was... it had its own like gravitational pull. It was just massive, and I don't even know that it was sort of attached to it, but it was just there, and it's big, and it was twice the size of the elephant, and it was just, it was so big and weird, and it was hot and humid, and it's like, I could have gone like, "Hey!" And not hit anything. It was that big, and I could put a studio apartment in there and hang out easily, And it was weird. And the elephant, and he's whipping the elephant, "Come on, John, get up there," and the elephant's up. And that quality, the sensation you have when you're really high. Did I tell you that we were high? Yeah, my friend and I were really high. And that's important. All right. That sensation you have when you're really high, and you sort of, when you look back on it, you sort of feel like you sensed it right before it happened, this event. It was so beautiful. The elephant did the only thing it could, the only revenge it could ever take, this humiliating, terrible life that's been laid for it, This elephant, just in this most beautiful, wonderful act, it was so wonderful. It just let loose with the biggest gush of urine. A torrent, not a little stream, just like this much, this much, hitting everybody. And now it's starting to get its energy. Okay, yeah, I'll move around, sure, everybody gets some. You take a little bit, how you liking it over there, all right? Hey, how's this for the show? How about that? How about you, America? Enjoy Tampa Bay, yeah, there you go. Hot enough for you, and it's just letting you, fucking really high-pressure stuff, and like Sheriff O'Connor would have been happy, It's just like, whoa, and everybody's freaking out. All the kids are screaming, and the elderly people are screaming. They're all trying to get out, but they're elderly. They can't move that fast, and they're all going, "Ah!" And it's all hitting them, and they have to keep their mouths closed, and there's hot elephant urine on them, and it's awful, and they're like, "Oh, no, what?" Oh, man. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. All right, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here, but before I go, I'd like to do this quick impression for you. And this is it. It'll take 10 seconds. This is my impression of an overly optimistic double amputee drummer. Okay. Thank you, San Fernando.
Well, that was definitely an interesting comedy special. I've seen other comedy specials of his, and they are better. It is hard to do just a half hour comedy performance kind of thing, especially when you're jumping around from topic to topic. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying we've definitely seen some better ones on the channel here. And again, not saying it was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it was not. I know David Cross has done better, and I mean, this was in 1996. I would hope he's done better stuff since then. if you if you come out of the gate with your best stuff and you don't ever get better than that, you know, um, the last bit where he's talking about the elephant pissing on people and stuff like that. I've seen and heard similar stories, and I don't doubt that it is also a true story. I don't doubt that one bit. But it's just one of those. I've heard it before, and I've heard better. I've heard better versions of it and stuff like that. So, um, Bob Saget even had one in his special "That Ain't Right," where he's talking about he received a video when he was working on America's Funniest Home Videos, and it's elephant uh, goes to sit down, and there's a person standing behind him, and the person's head goes like into the elephant's ass, and like the bit is more him talking about if that video would have ended up being on America's Funniest Home Videos, the commentary he would have given it, you know, like the guy's wife, "Oh, honey, you're shit faced again," or the elephant going, "Oh, I'll never forget this," because elephants never forget, or at least so they say, stuff like that. So um, and I like the one note I would give on that is that I feel like he went a little bit wrong in the direction of how he was exaggerating the elephant's over voluptuous vagina, and that's the phrasing I'm going to use, because that just like that you still get the mental picture, but the terminology becomes a little bit funnier, using it as an overly voluptuous vagina, and and but then trying to say, like, I'll give you guys an example. Most people have heard the phrase "higher than giraffe pussy." Like, man, I smoked a bunch of weed, man. Afterwards, I was higher than giraffe pussy. I have an expression where I say I'm higher than giraffe pussy learning to skydive. I like that kind of exaggeration because once you introduce the skydiving element of it, it doesn't matter what animal you're talking about. You're like you, you're skydiving. You're miles upon miles upon miles in the sky, and then you're just gonna add a giraffe to that to make it a few more inches. Makes a lot of sense, but the exaggeration makes it fun. Um, Also, he was talking about the doubly amputee drummer. Is it Def Leppard? I think I can't remember, but there is a band that has a drummer that only has one arm, and he does absolutely amazing for it. So it just seems like a bit of a strange joke to kind of go out on for me. It was an interesting way like, to be fair, he started off very interesting, especially with the whole lesbian dentists so cult or whatever it was that he started off with. It's like I can't say I've ever heard about the Dental Association. This is a group of people I may have to look into to see if there is actually some sort of conspiracy theory behind that. I, I know it's probably not real, but it's one of those, like, mixing that in with the whole Jew banker thing, just making it stupid and silly. I absolutely love that kind of shit. As much as and my the whole thing, and I know I said I don't I try with everything that's happened in the past couple weeks and everything like that, I want to stay away from politics and stuff like that as much as I can. But the thing I always say is, if you really, really think that there is a group of people in the background of society that are pulling the strings and really controlling everything, this scary, big, scary secret organization. We don't need a big, scary secret organization. We already have politicians for that. And if that's still not good enough, then we also have lobbyists. And for as big and scary as the idea of the Illuminati and stuff like that might seem, in my opinion, lobbyists are far more scary. I know not all lobbyists are bad. There are lobbyists that are trying to do positive things out there and aren't just trying to, push things for their company's agenda and stuff like that. I know that. But the majority of them are. The majority of them. And and I'll kind of go out on this because we are running on like almost 2 hours now. But I will kind of end on this where I was watching an interview with one of my favorite YouTubers, who's Civvy11. Shout out to Civvy11, highly recommend his stuff. He's a reviewer, primarily reviews video games, more specifically, primarily reviews first person shooter video games, although there are other things mixed in on his channel, because you can't just do one subject all the time. But he was in an interview with Quad Damage, is it Quad Damage, and they're all British, and they're talking about McDonald's breakfasts, and they're like, it's just not quite the same in England as it is in the States, and he's like, well, it's because your government doesn't want you guys to eat delicious poisons, and that right there perfectly sums it up of how lobbyists and stuff like that push things in. You want this to be a thing, don't you? Don't you? Yes, you do, because you want the money that comes attached with it. You know? And so, again, don't want to get into politics. This is, we've had enough of that. We've had enough of that. So with all that being said, thank you all so very much for joining me today. It was a lot of fun going through David Cross's career. First person in a long time where we haven't had like any seedy and shitty accusations surrounding the person. I mean, the last one we had with Ron James, we didn't have any of that either, but that's because his Wikipedia article could have been written on an ant's dick. So there wasn't a whole lot to dive into, but I don't think he's got too much controversial shit behind him anyway, even if that wasn't the case. But that all being said, we're going to end this here. Well, Dano, to answer your question, this is a live stream where I like to talk about different stand-up comedians, and more predominantly we're working our way through Comedy Central's top 100 stand-up comedians of all time. So, does that answer your question, Dano, for what the fuck is this garbage? You just caught us on the end of it. You're interrupting the end of this of the live stream. So what's up? Do you not like stand-up comedy, Dano? Do you not like people who like to share their interests and stuff like that with people and try to get more information and more stuff on comedians and things that they like? Or are you some sort of gatekeeper that tries to keep people out of what kind of stuff you're into? I guess that answered your question, Dano, because I'm not seeing you responding at all. So, yes, with all that being said, thank you all so very much for joining me today. I do hope you enjoyed this. Drew Carey should be our next one, although it's kind of hard to find some stuff, so it'll probably end up being either Norm MacDonald or Howie Mandel, depending on what I'm able to find on YouTube, because all of this comes directly from YouTube. So with that all being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. I do hope you enjoyed it. Always remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do. You should probably stay away from most of the stuff I would do. And until next time, take care and keep laughing.